All right, you ready?
Yeah. Oh, whoa, Bruni, look at that shirt. Where'd you get that?
Oh, look at this. You
Mm.
see this?
Yeah, I
Do
do
you
see
see it?
it.
Do I need
Stand
to
up.
stand up?
Yeah, you gotta stand up real quick.
Look at that.
Super Pit, North Texas.
Mm-hmm. Where's the logo? The Homefield logo's on here. Look at that.
Wow.
Look at that.
Speaking of Homefield, we are working with Homefield to give y'all 10% off all orders, 15% off your first order if you guys buy some merch like Bruni. Bruni, stand up again.
Oh.
Show off the shirt. Show off
Good
the shirt a little bit more.
transition. Look at us.
Look at that. Look at that shirt. You guys can get 10% off or 15% off that shirt with code MGreen on Homefield. They give unique designs, going to the archives of the school and actually finding something cool about the school instead of just putting North Texas on a t-shirt. Not only that, you guys want to use TCU, SMU, Oklahoma, whatever, because you're fake North Texas fans. Also use the MGreen code because it'll also work for us.
Yes.
Yeah. I hopefully have some stuff on the way. I've been waiting. Bruni, I don't know if you have anything else on the way, but
Not right now. Not at the
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
Not at the moment. This is the one I really wanted. I really wanted this Super Pit one. I love this shirt. Oh man. It is 50% cotton and 50% polyester.
So it feels nice.
It's a nice material. Very
Yeah.
nice material. It's I wore it to bed. I wore it to sleep. God.
You just pat yourself on the face with it.
I love it. I love it. But again, in case Colin missed anything, we really are excited about this partnership with Homefield Apparel through the Dave Campbell's Republic of Football Podcast Network. Homefield launched its North Texas apparel line, 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks, yeah.
And a ton of people bought the stuff, used our code. We saved a ton of money as a collective community using the code. Again, 15% off your first usage of it, and 10% every time after that. So you can still buy it. Use the code 10% off all of orders. And yeah, Colin basically summed up the rest pretty well. If you're interested, visit the Homefield website at homefieldapparel.com. Super easy to use, and you can access their wide-ranging selection of teams. Shop at Homefield and use our discount code MGreen at checkout to get your discount.
Not only that, I'm not sure if this is legal to say or not, but you could probably just create a bunch of new accounts and get 50% off. So, hey, let's do what you got to do. We're all struggling out here. So,
just Colin, or just put them all into one when you first order and just use 15% off code there.
Yeah, just buy every shirt. Yeah.
So that way you don't have to buy a second one.
Point. That's a good point, Bruni, honestly.
It is amazing how many people have bought Homefield stuff. It blew me away.
In all seriousness, thank you guys for using our code. It's really awesome.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Green Room Podcast. I'm Matthew Bruni, and joining me once again is Colin Mitchell. And Colin, today we are joined by JD Davis, aka North Texas Eagle on Twitter. Are you on Threads yet? Have you moved?
I do. I have started Threads. I've got 6 followers. We're really booming over there.
Big.
Yes,
there we go.
We're kind of a big deal on Threads. So
there we go. Threads. Check him out. Recruiting analyst and a reporter for GoMeanGreen.com. JD, how are you doing today?
Good. Enjoying the summer, getting some rain out here in East Texas. So it's been a whole lot better than last summer. That's all I gotta say. We're super blessed this year.
Yeah. Out here in Baton Rouge, you're just kind of like you wait for August, and then in August it rains every single day. Yeah. That was the biggest shock to me, that it just rains every day over here. So in August, so hurricane season's almost here, but hopefully there's no hurricanes. We'll see. But we wanted to have you on to talk recruiting. That's the main thing. Obviously, you are great at that. You're the best covering North Texas recruiting, and it's the summer periods for most schools is where they get a lot of intrigue, a lot of traction with players for the classes that they're building. They have some camps, they take visits, they host official visits and whatnot. So we wanted to have you on to talk about all that. But specifically what they have so far with 11 commits, there's currently 7th in the American on threes rankings. I don't know where 24/7 Rivals has them, but 7th, right? I mean, nip and tuck with everybody else pretty much, East Carolina, UTSA, FAU. SMU has a higher, average rating, but they have less commits, so on and so forth. But if we talk about this 2024 class so far with the 11 commits, what are your thoughts on just the class as a whole and how they've done so far?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we're way ahead of schedule from I feel like where we've been in the past. I don't have the numbers to back that up, but I just feel like we are with 11 commits here, just starting the first week of June. I think the most impressive part to me is the staff really has only official visited one kid, and to have the 11 commits we've got, it to me is pretty impressive. I know schools like UTSA, SMU, they started already official visiting quite a few kids. So for North Texas to have 11 fish in the boat, however you want to call it, it's pretty impressive. And the thing to me, not only is the amount, but the offer list on some of these kids has been, world better than, and Seth and them really improved recruiting. But some of these kids' offers lists are some of the best I've seen in my, period of covering North Texas football.
Real quick, Colin, before we
No, you're
continue,
fine.
I'm curious about the official visits because I know surface level, obviously, kids can take an official visit. Some of them take them in the summer. Some of them take them during the season, during the fall, closer to the commitment date. Do you think that's kind of what North Texas is holding off for? You think they're being like, all right, we want to host the big guys in the fall, closer to signing period?
Yeah, and I think that the staff wants to get a chance to show what they can do on the field. I know that's a big thing that they think once, North Texas gets some wins, can, show, Eric Morris' style of football. That's going to be a recruiting chip, something using recruiting as well. But also, I think, as we see senior year, things play out. Kids rise up the boards, kids fall down the boards, kids slip, offers go dry. And I do kind of like the fact that, I think December is really going to be, I think there's a bye week, and then December, 1 or 2 weekends in December, that's really going to be big official visit weekends for North Texas. And I think, the class are going to kind of have a better idea and maybe be able to get, maybe the whole group on campus. I'm not sure what all the game plan is, but I do kind of like the wait and see approach, especially, I mean, if they had 0 or, 1 or 2 recruits at this point, I would probably be, pulling my hair out, get some kids on visit. But the fact that we've already got over a third of the class committed and no official visits, I think it seems like it's a pretty good strategy so far.
Yeah, and 10 of those 11 are from Texas. And I think, again, we talked about this last time with the class coming in right now is, that was a thing that Seth wasn't really strong at, is getting Texas guys. So how impressive is it for you that they're continuing to keep that, Texas percentage up? And do you think that'll hold going forward?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a point of emphasis that Coach Morris made, in his opening day press conference. He's, followed that up with the staff he hired, Coach Gilbert, Coach Savada. There's a ton of Coach Kirkland, or the director of player personnel. Coach Kirkland was a former Texas high school coach. I mean, I think there's a ton of Texas high school football emphasis. But I still think the staff, with Cobbs and that Oklahoma territory, I think, going up to Oklahoma and landing a kid like Micho Levine, I think the staff will still continue to do stuff like that. I mean, watching that kid's film, I was actually watching it this morning, just playing around before we jumped on here. I mean, the kid's looks like a man among boys. So I think anytime you can go to Oklahoma and get a kid like that, you do it. But I do think moving forward, there's going to be a ton of emphasis on Texas high school football kids.
You mentioned Micho Levine. It's interesting because he is the only one not in Texas. He is from Oklahoma, which is close. But you look at so many of these guys, it's like South Oak Cliff, Katy, North Shore, Capel. Like, these are major Vandergrift. Like, these are major high school programs here, which, again, kind of like what you said earlier, I don't have the stats to back this up, but it felt like with the Latrell and Valerius era, it was more so like finding the big names at the small schools, small Oklahoma schools, small schools in, around Texas, 2A, 3A type stuff.
Yeah.
Is that something you I don't know, surprises you or anything like that? Or what are your thoughts on them kind of getting guys from these big programs?
No, I mean, I think they and like I said, when they built the staff, I mean, they brought in well-respected guys from areas. You look at Coach Gilbert, you look at Coach O. I mean, those guys are well-known, respected guys in the DFW area. And I think that's a big part that you've seen. We signed 3 kids from South Oak Cliff last year, 2. And then, I
think there was the North Shore as well last year.
North Shore as well. We've got 2 big North Shore kids. Now we've got a Christopher Barnes. I mean, 15 offers, super impressive offer list. And the kid's electric. But they've got several electric wide receivers committed so far. But yeah, I mean, I think that's and Coach Savoto, we look in the Houston area,
Yep.
well respected. He was on Texas high school boards down there and everything else. So I mean, I think bringing in that kind of staff really gave North Texas some I guess bragging rights in those areas, and they've really capitalized on it. I think it's really impressive. I think the two kids from South Oak Cliff, they committed early, so they're kids we really don't talk about much. But I think if we can hold on to Brandon Jones and Kerry Williams come December, it's going to be huge recruiting wins. Because I mean, Brandon Jones, the guy, 21 offers, and going through at Arizona State, Missouri, Houston, SMU, Ole Miss, Texas Tech, and that's a guy that could come in and start pretty quick on that defense, whether it's linebacker, safety. I mean, they're not just going and getting kids from big schools. We saw that kind of in the McCarthy area where they'd go to a school like DeSoto and they'd land 3 kids that had 2 offers combined between the 3.
Yeah.
I feel like they're actually going and getting big fish in the big ponds.
Yeah. What would be sorry? What would be a good finish for Eric Morse's full first season of recruiting? Obviously, Brune already mentioned he's 7th. They're 7th right now. Is that kind of where you expect them to finish, or do you think that they could do better?
No, I mean, I'm not. I like to think I'm realistic. I would think if North Texas can finish in that 5 to 7 range, I would be super impressed. I think not only are we moving up conferences, I think I would be super pleased as a recruiting guy if we finish, in that 5 to 7 range is what I'll say. Now, if they, we come out and, whatever quarterback wins a starting job and we play for an AAC title, then, maybe we can move up to the top 2 or 3 spot. But being a realist and finishing how they think they finished, I think that 5 to 7 range would be a huge win for year one of a full year of recruiting for Coach Morse.
I know it's been talked about a lot by the AAC Twitter account and everything, but the markets that these schools are in is really, really interesting because you're going to get some really interesting recruiting battles, but also teams just kind of like locking down their area, and that's going to result in highly rated classes like Tulane, New Orleans, SMU in North Texas and Dallas, FAU, Florida, obviously, even East Carolina. I mean, people don't talk about the Carolinas, I feel like, with recruiting, but that is a pretty damn good area of talent. And then you have, UAB, UTSA, Tulsa, Memphis. Memphis is a pretty good area too, but you got those schools all obviously vying. I think 5 to 7 range would be really impressive. I think that would be a good first year because also I feel like another thing that's not talked about enough was we say it's their first full year. It's still building those relationships. Like you haven't been recruiting guys for 3-4 years like some of these other schools, like Jeff
100%.
Traylor at UTSA and stuff like that.
Absolutely. And I think that, when you look at this American Conference, there's not one team in the American that if we lose a recruiting battle to, I'm going to, throw a fit. Because I don't think there's no easy recruiting battle in the American. You look at, people will say Tulsa, people will say Rice. Those are private schools. Those are expensive educations.
Rice has gotten some dudes recently, I feel like.
Absolutely. And it's impressive because, they haven't been that great at football, but they've been out recruiting battles. And I think that education, that expensive tuition, I think that plays a part. Like you said, Tulane, their season they had last year, whoever LSU doesn't want, I feel like Tulane's got the Louisiana area conquered right now. Where when we were in the CUSA, there were schools like Southern Miss and Louisiana Tech and UTEP that I'm not trying to throw shade on those schools, but I feel like anytime North Texas offered any of their commits, I feel like we had a very good chance to take. There's not a school in the American that I feel that way about. I feel like that they all kind of offer something unique. If they haven't had success, they're probably a private school that has the higher education or higher costing education. So, I think if we did finish middle of the pack and hold on to these guys we've got committed and add some more, I think that would be a pretty impressive year because, like I said, I think there's going to be some interesting recruiting battles down the stretch, especially if SMU stays in here, UTSA. We're already seeing it. Going through this list of guys that North Texas has committed, UTSA's almost offered all of them. You look at UTSA's recruiting commits, North Texas almost offered all of them. So, they're going head-to-head on virtually every recruit. So, it's going to be interesting how the thing plays out.
Of these 11 current commits, which ones really intrigue you and are like, you're like, oh, I really hope we get them signed and just for the long term, being able to watch them at North Texas, which ones intrigue you the most?
I'll probably go back to Micho just because he looks like a smaller school guy, and we've seen guys like that once they get on campus, they either blossom to become a Jeffrey Wilson or they don't break the too deep. I mean, it's really I feel like boom or bust for those top guys. So I'm really interested to see that. But there's also something going through the list, some guys that I mean, Coach Davis landed the 4 wide receivers, I feel like, in 4 days last week. Yeah. All those guys are intriguing. I mean, Christopher Barnes, Jaquez Spalding Dimps. I mean, when was the last time North Texas was in the top 3 with 2 Big 12 schools and ended up the kid committing to North Texas?
Yep.
And it wasn't like those were old offers. I mean, Baylor was a pretty fresh offer, and North Texas still landed them, and that was impressive to me. And then the big kid from Coppell, Tipton, I mean, that's a guy that, you know, he's a stud wide receiver, but add 20, 30 pounds on that kid, he could be an all-conference tight end moving forward. Yep. And then maybe arguably the best of the 4, Miles Coleman, smaller guy, shifty guy, kind of reminds me of Darden, but I think somewhere where he's the leading receiver in the state of Texas coming back next year. So, I mean, that's getting these guys on campus, the air raid. It's going to be interesting to see how they play out and see if we can keep them committed till December. Would be.
Sorry. I was going to ask, is there a specific thing that you see the staff doing differently than Luttrell in terms of them able to get talent and compete with these schools? Because obviously, you know, you make the jump to the AC and that's better, but I feel like there's got to be something else that allows you to get this much better talent.
Yeah. I'm going to say the relationship building. It's not that Seth and his group was bad at building relationships. I just feel like, and I've said it, I believe on this podcast before, I feel like it's 100% all hands on deck. I mean, they are the staff, the actual coaches, the Cobbs, you know, the Coach Gilberts, those guys are building relationships. But the recruiting staff, Coach O, Coach Kirkland, all those guys they're the ones watching film. They're the ones, you know, going out and looking under every rock. And it's allowing the coaches to be able to build relationships. I mean, I've interviewed probably 5 of the 11 committed, and every guy has been consistent with, you know, it's a relationship. You know, it's Coach Gilbert was texting me every day. Coach Cratch was, you know, we've been in constant contact, and that hasn't always been the thing at North Texas. I mean, not talking bad about anybody on Coach Luttrell's staff. I don't know if they came with their approach like this staff is, where it's literally, you know, you got your guys, you build relationships, you get to know them and make sure they're the right fits. And I think that's been a huge part in some of these kids landing and choosing us over some bigger, you know, Power 5 offers.
Yeah.
It certainly felt like it was very much top heavy with Luttrell's staff in terms of Walarius was everywhere trying to do everything. Luttrell dipped his toe in a lot, and then the staff didn't have as much on their plate. That's what it felt like to me. Obviously, as I didn't cover recruiting as in depth as what I do now, like with LSU, but it's like when I'm at LSU camps and stuff, I'm just like, these coaches are everywhere. They're just hands on. Like they are a part of the recruiting staff, right? Yeah. And that's where I didn't feel that when it was Luttrell and Walarius. It felt like it was very much top heavy. Like the recruiting guys do the recruiting, and everybody else kind of coaches in a sense. I don't know.
And I'll never, you know, throw shade on Luke. I think Luke brought North Texas recruiting
100%.
Up several notches when he took over, and I feel like he had a lot on his plate, and I think they did a great job in recruiting. But now I feel like Coach Morris, one of the great things he's done is, you know, take what Luke did and divide it by 6 guys, and I think you're seeing it pay dividends in the recruiting.
Absolutely. Who are some of the top 2024 targets that you'd like to see North Texas try to land? Obviously, they already have 11, but who else do you have your eye on?
Cash McCollum, the quarterback out of China Springs, is one of my favorite. He's been a guy I liked since before they offered. I know they had some other guys that they were targeting. I think the main target was Arrington Maiden, the College Station quarterback that went to Memphis. We talk about American recruiting battles. There was one that we lost right there. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out down the stretch. But as far as a quarterback, I know quarterback's always a big topic, any message boards, any podcast. So I think that would be my guy. I think he's the top quarterback target they've got. I think he's a guy they've liked for a while now. He won state last year, but he's 6'3", 6'4", big kid. So that's a guy. And I'd like to see what we do as far as the offensive line. I don't really have any names off the top of my head, but I know losing losing both our offensive line commits last 2 weeks really hurt. Losing Snacks McLean to Houston and then losing Davian Horth to UTSA, that was a big loss. So I'm interested to see what we do along both sides of the ball, defense and offense, because technically we have no guys committed right now on either side of the ball. So I think that's going to be a big point of emphasis moving forward.
Yeah,
I'm interested to see who we get there.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see how the early signing period goes compared to the February signing period as well, because it's very much could be a wait until February for some of these kids, and they benefited a lot from those kids that waited till February, and they were able to swoop in and get a lot of guys. So it's another aspect of it. There's so many different challenges of having this, like, of a new recruiting staff, a new staff kind of going in and recruiting and everything. And obviously when you take a step forward, you're going to be going against, better schools, better programs to get these guys. So it could drag out the process a little bit more, but that's going to be something I'm looking forward to.
And I know a lot of people were complaining about the decommits and stuff, but like I said at the start, I think we've got to look and see where we're at right now. And I mean, I don't remember a time when the first week of July we had 11 commits of this caliber guys. It's not like I can't go through the list and see, oh, we were his only offer, that's why he's committed. That's not the case for any guy we've got. So I think when you're going with this quality guys and you're getting them committed this early, there's going to be recruiting battles. I mean, there's no way we make it to December without some guys, coming in and battling for the guys we've already got committed. So I think that's moving forward. If we continue to commit early and keep going for high-profile guys, there's going to be some guys decommit. Matthew, you see it at LSU. I mean, it happens at Texas. It happens everywhere. It's not just a, small fish type deal.
Yeah, if there's one thing I know is that fans mostly focus on their own school. Yeah. So it's like when there's a decommit, it's like, what's happening with this school? What's happening with this, our school here, when it's like every school in the country is going through this. Every staff in the country is going through this. I mean, I will say the UTSA, though, losing an offensive lineman to UTSA is something that is going to be interesting moving forward, because it's staff's getting their footing, and it's like Jeff Traylor's like, hey, I'm right here. Just reminding them.
And Coach Morris and them, they've held their own. I mean, I feel like we've definitely won some battles against him. I think we've held our own a lot better than say maybe Seth and them did. But that was the part last week. We did have the 2 decommits, and I feel like, Go Mean Green, Twitter is everybody's, got the pitchforks out. And it's like the same day we beat Baylor and TCU for a wide receiver. And you're like, let's celebrate the good. Let's put the pitchforks down for a second. But
it's all about pitchforks. That's what we do. We run message boards that hand out the pitchforks. We sell the pitchforks.
We sell the pitchforks. So I guess we got to deal with it.
Angry Mob will be on Threads soon, so you'll 2 places.
Yes, exactly.
All 6 of my followers are probably already got their pitchforks ready.
Threads. Oh man. All right. Well, that's all on recruiting. Real quick, how are you feeling going into the season? I mean, I know it's July 6th, but fall camp's almost here. It's almost August. Are you feeling better than you were in the spring? You feeling the same? What are you? Is the inner fan coming out in you? You're like, hey, this is it. This is the year. 9-3. We're coming.
Yeah. I'm 12-0. I don't know where you're getting the 3 losses at. I haven't found them yet. But no, I mean, really, I do think there was a time where I'm like, I think the main thing, figure out who the quarterback is. Yeah. And then, get to Cal and see what the product, because we really don't know what the defense is going to look like. We really don't know what the offenses look like. I mean, this is kind of, going in dark this year with the whole new staff. And it's going to be interesting to see. I think there's definitely some winnable games early on. I think that's going to hopefully benefit us. And then getting some guys like SMU and UTSA late. I mean, your UTSA is a Frank Harris injury away from, not being the favorite in the American. And SMU, we haven't seen, Stone play for a full season. So there's I feel like every team in the American's got some question marks. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But yeah, I would say I'm more excited now. I think it's because it's just getting closer to fall camp, and I'm more intrigued to see. I think once they update the rosters and you see the new guys on there, you see who made it to campus. Kind of lets you breathe a little bit, but it's interesting to see how some of these guys, like Javen Anderson's a guy I'm interested in. Does a guy like that, does he break the 2 deep? Seeing some of the new guys where they plug and play, see how the offensive line, how that rotation works out. A lot of things to watch as we head into fall camp, but kind of like with recruiting, I mean, I think if we can get to the main thing I would say is if Coach Morris can get to 6 wins in year one, make a bowl game, and then get to December, get signing class signed, and then next year will be the year that maybe North Texas can take a big jump. But I definitely, my goal is to hopefully hit that 6 to 8 win mark, make a bowl game, and make it December.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the schedule. I'm really excited just to play different teams. I know.
I am too.
It's like Temple. Like I don't know anything about Temple.
Nothing.
Let's see. They're going to be decent. I mean, Memphis. A lot of these teams North Texas has played, right? La Tech, FIU, Memphis, heck, Cal 2 years ago. But then you got the Tulsa, Tulane, Navy. Like those games are going to be interesting to me. And then in future years it'll be like an East Carolina type team and so on and so forth. So
the interesting game to me is Cal coming to North Texas. Sure. I mean, it's going to be 172 degrees on the turf.
It's going to be so bad.
Cal may melt, but I mean, that's a winnable Power 5. I mean, it's not like we don't have Alabama coming. We don't have LSU. I'm not trying to throw shade on California. I'm just saying that's probably one of the only winnable Power 5 games that North Texas has had, the last decade. So besides Arkansas, obviously, but I'm excited to see what happens, how it plays out, who the starting quarterback is. It's gonna good times.
Yeah. And that's what Wren and Jared Mosley. That's when they planned this schedule. They're like, hey, we're going into this year. Cal, it's a winnable game if we play really well, and then FIU, La Tech, winnable. ACU, like there's a path to being 4-0 and making some noise before going into conference, and that's what they planned. So that's it's going to be interesting.
Yes.
Last thing is, who did you have to bribe to get the care package?
Whew, that was a lot of. I had to send a lot of steaks up to that athletic department. There was steaks, hamburger meat. I don't know. I lost track. I think I sent a whole cow up there, but I got a shirt out of the deal, so I'm pretty pumped.
We're like, man, everyone's annoyed. JD, man, all these people getting things, and Colin's like, well, are our DMs open? And I'm like,
that's like, hey,
they work. They're not.
They work.
So we went and made them unlock just in case, green room unlocked. So anybody listening to this, Jared Mosley.
I kept tagging Jared Mosley. Anytime anybody posted, I'd just tag Jared and put a sad face, and then eventually paid off. I don't know.
All right, good to know. Good to know. We'll have to try that out. But yeah, that's the last thing. But all right, JD, appreciate you for coming on, man. This was a lot of fun. Good to talk recruiting. Good to talk North Texas football as always. Man, season's almost here. It's almost August. I consider August the start of the season. So
yeah, we've almost got it made. It's it'll be here before you know it.
All right. Follow JD on Threads at North Texas Eagle. Is it the same?
It's the same. Lucked out and got it.
There you go. North Texas Eagle. Follow him on Threads. Follow him on Twitter.
I had to pay some guy pretty big bucks for it.
Yeah.
I bet.
Had to beat some people out. But all right, JD. Thanks, man.
Thanks, guys.
All right, let's continue the podcast, Colin, because it is July 6th and it's an off-season podcast, so we want to have some fun. I don't know if this is considered fun, but we're going to go through the transfer portal departures and the transfer portal additions and kind of talk about where North Texas landed in the grand scheme of things and how much it really hurts North Texas in the portal. Because as much as I think we had Seth Luttrell on last year, and yes, we're still trying to get Eric Morris on. Don't worry, we'll have him on in the fall. But we had Luttrell on last year, and I was like, do you look at it as a plus, a minus, all this stuff? Because you can get players that drop down too. And he was like, oh, it's about even. You break even, all this stuff. It's hard for me to say not small schools. Well, because North Texas is not a small school. But it's hard for me to say that outside of the top 30 teams in the country, that everybody else is even or, a positive. Everybody else to me is clearly losing talent, bottom line. And that, again, I'm not just saying all P5s, but I think if you go down the list, like I don't off the top of my head, go to like a Arizona or an Arizona State or something like that. Like outside of the top 30, 40 schools, it's very, very hard to break even in the transfer portal. Yeah. So if we go down the list, actually I should share my screen, Colin. That'd be smart, right? Let me share my screen.
Technology.
Thank you, Colin.
I sound like you.
Technology. All right. But if you just go down the list of who the transfers out, Larry Nixon, Jair Shorter, Varkeys Gums. I don't care about Grant Cano. Cam Robertson, Deshaun Gaddy, Jake Roberts, Asher Alberding. Like, that's the list to me. And
Don't
I'm not,
forget
I
about
mean,
linebacker Bryce Drummond.
yeah, we'll throw Bryce Drummond in there, sure. Hatib Lyles, but those guys not as much. But what did I just name? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 players lost to P5 schools, and I think 6 would have been starters at least. Like Asher Alberding, probably not. So 6 would have been starters.
Yeah,
Like that's a lot to overcome.
it is.
Like, make no mistake. Like, it was when the Murphy twins transferred out. It was like, okay, that hurts. But then you add in Mason Richardson and guys step up. So I'm not saying guys won't step up, and we'll get to the transfers in a second. But bottom line, man, those are guys that are going to start at those P5 schools. Now, Cam Robertson went to SMU. I want to correct myself. So that is not a P5 school as much as SMU wants it to be. I'm sitting here laughing at SMU because
I don't know. It seemed like you almost fell victim to the Pac-12 fever.
no, I'm laughing at SMU because they're not going to the Pac-12. Sorry, SMU. You can sit here in this conference, and y'all ain't gonna win this conference either. So, just have some fun. Sit here for a bit.
Here for a
But
bit.
until then, other than that, you have again high major transfers: Deshaun Gaddy, Jake Roberts, Varkeys Gums, Jair Shorter, Larry Nixon. Like those 5 alone, you could argue would have been 5 of like the top 10 players on the team next year.
Yeah.
I worry that this is going to be a cycle for North Texas and for all the schools really, and that aren't in the top 30 or 40 moving forward. What do you think?
I mean, I don't really worry so much about. I don't worry about teams in the future because your hope is that you build. The problem with years past is that we never felt like there was ever a foundation built. You always had top end talent, and then after that, it was like, what do you have?
Yeah.
I feel like if every team's dealing with this, you're gonna have to somehow combat it, and you're gonna have a foundation in which guys will step up. Problem is that with a new coaching staff, I don't know who's gonna step up. And if you look at the transfers in, and we'll look at those in a second, I don't really know if any of those guys are gonna come in and do what these guys will do. But like Jair Shorter. Offense, like the problem with this is that you lose a player from almost every part of facet of football, like linebacker, wide receiver, defensive end, tight end, like
Gaddy
secondary. It's so, and like I said, we don't know who's going to step up in those positions because right now the only players we know are the ones that like Ridge Tejada, for example. Like we already know what he is, but like we don't know who behind him was going to be good because he wasn't good enough to play last year. So it is. That's I guess my concern now, but in the future I don't really know if it's going to be something to really have to worry about because if every school is dealing with outside the top 30, that's what you got to deal with.
No, you're right, and that's like it's not like North Texas is going through this alone. Tulsa, Rice, hey, Rice's best receiver just entered the portal like 3 days ago or something like that. Bradley Rosner. So yeah, every team's going through this. UTSA lost Zachary Franklin to Auburn, I believe it was, or was it Ole Miss? One of the two. So yeah, every team's going through it. We'll see. But it's hard for me to watch that. I'm like, damn, I was really looking forward to seeing these guys play at North Texas this year.
Right.
So we'll see. Now the transfers in, like you said, it's a lot of guys that should be good, but a lot of guys that we have no clue like how it's going to pan out. Like again, Chandler Rogers should be good.
Yep.
Do we know if it's going to pan out? No, we don't. Trey Cleveland, receiver, should be good. Phillip Hill, we heard really good things about. I think it was it JD or somebody else?
I can't remember who it was, but yeah.
Somebody said Phil Hill was looking really good. Ethan Miner, offensive line. So like you have all these names here. Larry Moore, offensive tackle, very well could start. Damon Youngblood here from that's UL, right? Yeah, Louisiana. Yeah. So again, quality names here. You kind of just have to backfill the position and kind of make it work from there. That's the hope, I think, is that you want the drop downs, I guess, from those high major schools like Texas Tech. You get 2 Texas Tech guys and you're like, okay, cool. Like we can make this work. And it kind of fills in for losing those guys. I will say they didn't lose any offensive linemen in the portal, did they? Like that should be a real strength of this team. They lost Dane Jackson, but that's what it's like. Offensive line should be a real strength for this team with the transfers that they got. And I didn't even mention Paolo, who is going to be a pretty good player for them as well. So
yeah,
I think it's a good transfer portal haul. Like if you had to grade it as far as the transfer portal haul they got, I'd grade it as a B+. I think that's pretty good.
Thing with me, and this is probably just because I have PTSD from past transfer hauls, is that anytime I see a Texas Tech or Georgia or anything, it's like I'm expecting them to do really well, and then they end up not playing. So hopefully this is different under Eric Morris, but that's I guess that's my only slight concern.
In the transfer portal era, you don't have a choice anymore. It felt like in the past,
no, of course not.
You would get somebody, and it would be like, oh, that's cool. Like that guy could be really good. But if it doesn't work out, we still have all this, the players that we recruited.
Right.
Nowadays, you need the transfer portal guys to pan out because if not, you lose too much to only replace it with your freshman, like your recruiting. Like you can't replace it with your recruiting. Nobody can. Nobody in the country has enough freshman talent and like incoming talent with freshman classes to supplement what they lose in the transfer portal. I was doing an Alabama preview the other day. They lost 17 players to other P5 schools.
Dang.
And only took in 5 or 6 transfers. And I think that's a real concern for them. Like, even though they have the number 1 class coming in, like it's just like, it's hard to continue to supplement all of that. And so that's something I'm interested in is which one of these transfers starts. Because if they get 2 starting offensive linemen, a starting quarterback, a starting receiver from the transfer portal, and a starting safety from the portal, I think that's a great haul.
Yeah.
Like you can't go wrong with that. So then then your talent naturally will be enough from there. But I did want to look real quick at the transfer portals because I think that's an interesting aspect of this team we haven't talked about enough.
Are we moving on to the All-Texas team?
Yes, we are. Dave Campbell's released their 2023 preseason Dave Campbell's All-Texas team. And there are, I believe, 3 North Texas players on there.
I'm looking right now. 1, 2,
all right,
3.
Let's think. First team defense, Rich Tejada, defensive back. Second team offense, Ayawade at running back.
Yep.
Second team defense, Mason Richards at edge. So those are the 3.
That's it.
Those are the 3. I really think the North Texas running back room, and Dave Campbell's has done this before. I think when they did the top 10 running backs, they put just Ayawade at like number 5 or something like that. You're like, yes, but Kaika Ragsdale and Oscar Attaway and like all these guys, Isaiah Johnson, are all going to be major contributors. Like there's a chance this is one of the best running back rooms in the state, like comfortably. And I'm really excited by that. We've been spoiled with running backs.
Like North Texas is known for, apparently. I mean, you got Patrick Cobbs, you got Jeff Wilson, you got Lance Dunbar.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't forget Lance Dunbar now.
I'm not talking about NFL careers, I'm just talking about the recent college career. So, I mean, I'd hope. I mean, they better be good this year. Defense though, two second team, or I guess 2 all defense. How would you say that? First team and second team?
1 first team, 1 second team.
Yeah.
Second team.
I think it's kind of interesting that there's not more offense than there is defense because I would not say defense is a strength.
I would say offensive line is going to be a strength, even though you lose Manasseh Mose, right?
Yeah.
Like you have Dazon Carroll. They don't have
your reaction.
Gabe Blair's not on here.
Sorry. Didn't make the cut.
Who do I have to talk to here? Where's Ish? Let me call Ish real quick. Let's see. How is Gabe Blair not on this list? Let's give Ish a call. You think he answers?
Probably.
He better. Ish.
Hey, what's up?
We are on the Green Room podcast right now looking at the Dave Campbell's All-Texas team.
Okay.
I just want to know where Gabe Blair was. I must have missed him.
Where what?
Gabe Blair, offensive lineman for North Texas, one of the best offensive linemen in the state.
Oh, Jesus.
I don't see him on this top 10. I see a lot of Texas A&M, Texas
Tech.
Tech. I was told that this was an equal opportunity publication.
Did you miss on? Did you not see your boy Day on there? Or is that?
I see a day. I see a day.
Is
Thank
that
you.
right now?
Shout out a day. Thanks
Yeah.
for that.
If Shorter hadn't bounced, he'd be on there too, probably. So.
Okay, too soon. Too soon. All right, we don't need this.
Listen, he could be on there if Chandler Rogers doesn't die this season.
Chandler Rogers will be only standing behind Gabe Blair. All right.
Taking on 5 of the
Yes,
defensive linemen
he will be.
himself.
Yes, he will be standing behind Gabe Blair. That's how it will look. I'm trying to see if there's anybody else to yell at you about. I think the rest of the Amazing Richards on there. Rich Tejada's on there.
Yeah, we got Tejada. Yeah.
Okay, I'm okay with the rest.
Alright.
Colin, anything else?
You're okay with the rest. Okay.
I'm okay. I can survive. We'll see. I'll damn. Okay. Yeah. We'll live. We'll live. All right. I just wanted to ask you about that.
Okay. Yeah, we'll talk. You can have his people comment.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
fix something up.
The anti-North Texas bias is real at the Dave Campbell's Texas football publication. But that's all right. That's all right.
All right. Cool.
All right, Ish. You have a good day.
All right, man. You too, buddy. Later, Colin.
See ya. I mean, I didn't see any Texas State guys on there, so
Actually, yes, there is. Defensive
Is there?
back. Torrey Spears, Texas State. I'm looking at it right here.
no shot.
Yeah.
Oh
Yep.
my
Homerism.
homerism. Did you not get saved? Did you not get the votes, Bruni?
They didn't email me. I didn't get an email.
Let's go through now. Now
I'm on
through.
payroll and they didn't email me.
I'm going through the roster now to see if anyone else deserves a look.
Gabe Blair was the only one that I thought of. I mean, receiver wise, it's just gonna
I
be such
couldn't
a
find one.
different. Jay Macklin is gonna be good, but I can't say he's gonna be a top 6 receiver in the state. Good. Like Jay Macklin should be like borderline all conference by the end of the year, I think. Gabe Blair will be all conference. Gabe Blair should be on this list.
Not good enough, apparently.
Gabe Blair should be is a top 10 offensive lineman in the state.
Not good enough.
This is a guy. No,
I'm joking.
I'm trying to see if they put Jake Roberts on this list.
Real
That would be an
question.
ultimate troll to us.
Real question is
They did
how
not.
good's this kicker?
Which kicker?
The new one from Baylor, Noah Rauschenberg.
It's a good question. I'm sure they didn't even investigate that, did they?
He played 43 games as a kickoff specialist. Yep.
Kickoff specialist.
That's big.
He didn't get on the actual kick.
Number 1 rated kickoff specialist for 2022, according to Pro Football Focus.
Teams will not be returning against North Texas this year. I
Nope.
promise you that. Put that in your pipe and smoke it right there, Dave Campbell's. Where's the all kickoff team?
Hold on. Last stat from our boy Noah, and 76% kickoff percentage in 2022.
As touchbacks? Has to be.
It just says it just says literally it just says that rated 8th nationally in kickoff percentage in 2022, 76%. I'm assuming that means
It has to be
89% in 2021. Yeah, this is when you got someone different, you got someone different. You know what I'm
No
saying?
one's returning on us.
No.
Nope.
He was though rated as the number 22 kicker nationally as a recruit, but I'm not sure that matters. So
Okay. Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
Defensively, Mason
Probably
Richards,
did our
Rod
homework.
Brown, I think.
yeah,
could
I
deserve
just
a shout.
scrolled to his name.
Rod Brown deserves a shout. I'm not sure he gets. They only took 6 defensive linemen and
Yeah.
2 edges, so that's kind of tough. But still, I think Rod Brown deserves a shout there. I mean, the defensive line should be pretty damn good this year.
I'd hope so.
I hope so. Okay, Colin.
It's hard to be optimistic at all right now. Still,
There's a lot of unknowns with this team.
yeah, like
Bottom line.
love the coaching staff, love the
Love 'em.
recruiting. I need to see him play.
Yeah, we need to see some football. We need to see some pads.
Yeah,
Clashing.
something,
Yeah, that's what
something
we-
to satiate my hunger for good football.
All right,
like
well,
that
we're gonna
word.
end it there. We're gonna end on satiate. All right. That's all we have for y'all today. Hope y'all enjoyed the episode. Thanks to JD for coming on. I don't know who we're gonna have on next week, but Hope y'all
Figure
had
it
a
out.
fun and safe 4th of July.
Look at Maya.
Maya's asleep behind us. There's a Maya update. It looks like she has like a little blanket over her.
It's a towel.
Oh, it's a towel. But yeah, thank y'all for joining us. We will be back next week with another edition of the Green Room. Shout out to everybody who's used our code on Homefield.
Oh yeah, keep doing it. Even if you are a closet other fan, use it.
Use it.
No
Anybody.
shame.
If maybe your cousin is like a Texas Tech fan or something like that. You can order Texas Tech stuff, send it to them, use our code 15% off. I mean,
maybe your friend is an SMU fan and you need to
not a real friend in my opinion.
not a real friend.
Or you're not a real fan.
Yeah, one of the two.
One of the two is happening here.
Yeah, no in between.
No in between. I say that I work with an SMU person.
Yeah, but sometimes, when it comes to work, you gotta bite the bullet a bit.
Bite the bullet. You don't get to pick your coworkers, right? That's what they say.
Yeah, but you can pick your friends. Sorry.
All right. Thank y'all for joining us. We will talk to y'all next week.